What's going up, guys? And it's your hostess with the mostest, Anomalycyra, coming back at it with another thought theory for your mind. Today I wanted to talk about offenses, disagreements, all that negative, juicy stuff that everyone just says to ignore or don't pay attention to. I want to talk about it. Not the specifics of it, but just the bare bones of the core of what everything is. And for me, I've always seen that, for some reason, it could just be human nature, but this is why humans are so fascinating to me, I believe, even with their negativities. So, you choose a title, whoever the interaction is with, or conflict. So, it's always a mass of either groups or individuals who have picked titles and they've decided to dislike the other group or persons who hasn't picked the same title that they picked. Whether it be mothers against women who don't want kids, or it's Christians against another religion that doesn't like them, like Satanists or something, or, you have, I'm a vegan myself and I'm not really mad at anyone, but there are groups of vegans who are angry at meat eaters, and people who drive electric cars don't like people who use gasoline cars, on and on and on. If you use plastic bags, the people who have a feeling or they want to stand behind a title of being an environmentalist don't like you because you're not doing their title. Here's what I want to say about that. Both are wrong and both are right. This is the contradiction of the reality that is life. So you cannot, well, I guess you can, but in your higher self, you would not judge another being, another creation, another life form for its choices of title. To pick a title is not to do anything to you personally. This could even go to someone who's racist. As long as they're not acting on it, there really is true freedom in having and believing whatever you truly want to believe. Now, this is an aggressive way to put this in this platform, probably. But for me, since I've had to deal with bullying, I've had to deal with negative point of views about me or the things I have to say, I'm an anomaly. I don't behave in particular ways. I don't like system structures. I'm very much so a David Bowie type rebel. I think free, I have my own consciousness, and I don't ask others to think for me. So in that way, I understand, though, that this way of being could make someone uncomfortable, and not to be offended by that discomfort. Let me put it this way. When I was in kindergarten, so I have a really long memory of, I even remember coming home as a baby. So in second grade, something like that, I had a deaf best friend. Probably the only true best friend I ever had. And it really didn't have anything to do with our friendship. It was just something I understood. But one of the actually really interesting things is she introduced me to music. I know, but it's she could feel the vibrations, or it's still very complex to explain. But there are things that I even use today, not to toot my own horn, but I think due to experiences like this, I actually have amazing taste in music, whether it be in a language I speak or even ones that I don't, which has also come off as different to people, because you're listening to different genres and different languages and cultural understandings and just a mass of information. But for me, not due to that one interaction, that's a lifetime. So remember, this is a full life of someone. So a lifetime of interactions and learnings, and not just that community, not just the deaf community, but also the blind community or the mute community, the disabled, people who are born without a leg or a hand, or the outside realm of not your perfect image, which doesn't exist. It's a manipulation of the flesh, really. So even if you were editing someone, you're trying to fit them into some mold that we don't really need. This is again what we're talking about. So these structures and titles of saying that someone needs to be different than how they were, or how they are, how you meet them. However you meet someone is how they are. The fact that there is something innate in people that makes them feel that you are the proverbial you, of course, is a type of clay for them to edit, mold, and put extra clays into, take away from, like a possession. These types of interactions and entities, this is what you leave, and this is what you distance yourself from, and make sure if you can't do a distancing or leave or completely not be within the realms of this type of person, like let's say you're a public figure, like, because a lot of the people I'll be talking to are like doctors, lawyers, they're corporate leaders, this kind of area, like little small business, nothing too big yet, very, I'm still a newbie, still a new beginner. So my leeways and the things that I've learned how to do are just networking, self-confidence, letting someone just talk to me, like how you're listening to this now. And really it just is, if you agree, you agree, and if you don't, then you don't. And I can kind of just part ways and I go on to my next event that I have. And now I'm looking into doing bigger events and I want to get my message out more, and that's where this is coming from. So now there's a podcast, there's a TikTok, there's a website, there's all these little bitty crumbs that I'm kind of just leaving out in the world, so that whoever my little alien Martian cyberpunk people are out there can find someone and something that they can resonate with and stand next to. Everyone likes to have a couple of different groups that they would like to be a part of. I love sports, but I would say I don't have the same fandom as I used to, probably in like younger age. So it's like, now who do I have a fandom for? I'm not really into popular music, popular films. I mean, I could always say I'm a Marvel, DC type of information, but I love like sci-fi movies and indie films that are nothing like Marvel and DC. And then there are times that movies I've missed, extra things I don't know about. So I would say that I don't really feel like how I listen to, talks from Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or any controversy that's going on in the country, expressing my love for capitalism and all of the backlash that would cause, because really it is a crime to be yourself, it seems. If you come off from the group, if you think differently, if you even seem to not be a part of their obsession, you are seen different. And anything that's different, just to a human mechanism, might be considered dangerous. And this is what we have to come to understand. So don't be angry at someone who's angry at you because you don't agree. Really, they would just like to resonate with you. They would like a bond and connection. They want to be a part of the same group, the same following. The sadder part is what we're talking about today. You can't always please everyone. And when you go through life trying to be a pleaser, trying to just say, oh yes, I like green hats too. Yep, I don't like hats at all. I mean, at the end of it, you're not expressing yourself. You're just expressing another. And there are so many people, if not most, that are copies of copies. They're living the exact same life. If you wrote it down every single day, and then they died and had a child, and they wrote it down every single day, really ask yourself, would there be a strong difference other than the time frame? Then it was the 70s, now it's the 2000s. Did you not just go to work, come home, maybe you eat, maybe you shower, watch a little something, maybe you have a glass of wine, maybe you have a smoke, maybe you have some happy time with yourself or your partner, there's activity, and then there's rest, and then it's repeat. And then we really feel that only rich or the super wealthy have time to reconstruct their day. But it's not true. A lot of these are illusions that are put upon people. They have the exact same day too. It's just at a higher level with more luxury. This is why I'll also be suggesting movies and films. So there's also a French film about a tower of people, about 300 floors. and the top floors are for who would be more well-to-do, and they get the fresh amount of food, and then the table goes further down through the tower. And as you come to the bottom, there's nothing left but broken plates and everything despicable that you can think of. It's a reflection on our humanity. It's a good watch. It's kind of creepy. But in that way, if you don't feel like you're a part of a group, you don't have a problem with committing evils against said other group. And you'll find this teaching in a lot of controversial leaders who ended up becoming what we would decide to call them as terrorists and horrible people. And if they met any of us in person, it would probably be our last day. These type of people. We don't have to drop the H word or the S one. We all know who these dictators were. We know the kind of things that they've done and the people who have suffered. Especially if you have, like myself, any kind of Jewish background or German background, which I happen to have both on different sides of my family, whether it be my mom and my dad. I'm still a brown-skinned woman, so it's fine, don't confuse yourself. When you have to deal with that, and then that has a type of energy on it, and a type of expectation, and a thought process that comes along with it, and there's just something that you have to understand within yourself, that the title that you've chosen, just like anything else, all of those realms of existence, they're layers that you need in your reality. So I'm not trying to take those from you. What I'm saying is keep your filters in your reality, but don't be upset at someone about the filters they've developed in their own reality, because neither one of your reality will ever cross, interact, or change each other's process. So it's fine. But we've been taught that it will. We've been taught that if another person thinks differently from us, it is a form of aggression to us. It is negative. It cannot be seen as a positive thing. We're not loving and accepting of each other anymore. And this is really the main thing I want to start talking about, where you're another human being with a heart and lungs, and even if you don't have, this is the thing too when people say these type of phrases, there are people that are born with their heart outside of their chest, so inside their body they don't have a heart, but it doesn't mean our phrase in English. I'm going to start talking about the Hermetic Circle, where we start explaining about linear to circular language and thought, and how that processes through time, and really your limit of time and language, and how they coincide with each other on our next episode. Or maybe I'll try to get into it a little bit here. But this brings us back to just the essence of it. The title that you've chosen in the language that you speak, through the experiences that you've had, the behaviors that you've picked up, and your own natural self of how you would have been, before you ever arrived, shall it be, for where you were before you got here. Because like Alan Watts always states, and I like to say who I get my phrases from, not to say, I know this person, I've listened to, over 10,000 hours of Alan Watts, and I know, I'm just saying, so you yourself, you can go look this person up, and maybe they can inspire you too. That's why I want to make sure that I say the names of people, I say the movies, the films, the directors, because we're all doing this together. It might be, right now, it may be coming from one source, and that's me, but I am a collection of sources of hundreds of thousands of hours and activities of anywhere from scientific novels to full-blown journals, all of the, we live in a world of technology. All of this information is available to everyone. I am just a super nerd, and I love it, and I can't really forget anything that I read. It's just kind of a gift that I have. It really got me through school, because I was in between having a really bad, lung infection, on a lot of steroids, on a lot of just through the medical system life, and now I'm on the other end of it, being vegan, and I haven't been sick or had a cold or any lung infections or anything wrong with me for over 20 years. So it's just one of those things where you start realizing that the life you accept, not in a cheesy way, but the life you accept really is the life that you get. And that's not saying, oh, well, that means you'll never get sick or you'll never go through problems. So all you've got to do is be vegan, all your problems are solved. This is another thing. This is back to the titles, right? You have to let go of that. Everyone's individual behaviors, stories, experience, and the way they view reality is their own, and it does not belong to you. And that is a beautiful thing. That is a freeing thing. It means that you are allowed to be your full, complete self, and no one can change you. No one can take that away from you, and no one's trying to. You're not under attack. You are loved. You are cared for. You are whole. And I don't see a lot of this being taught outside of like maybe some random churches and beliefs, but I really just don't get why us as humans don't just feel this innately. You wake up in the morning, you're breathing this beautiful mixture of oxygen and nitrous oxide and all of these different gases and chemicals that come together just so we can breathe. Does that not feel like a gift or something thinking of you? I don't think you need it to be an entity that has some type of name or speciality and performance that you need to create so that it can do something for you through a title. Now, that doesn't mean that having a religion or being a type of person is anything wrong with it. It's not. But it also means that not having that practice and not doing that, not having those beliefs is also not doing anything wrong, and it doesn't hurt anyone. The only time that these activities become violent, become angry, become aggressive, like the dictatorships, or when you have decided that your title should be everyone's title. If you have decided that Presbyterians are wrong and everyone should be a Catholic. And I'm being raised Catholic myself, so I definitely could have a biased point of view and be like, oh, well, no, I totally believe that Catholics do this and blah, blah, blah. True. But since I took the time to well educate myself and spent hundreds of thousands of hours figuring out that these are just studies and practices from people who lived then, and how much relativity should I put into that? Or what is the relativity of that to myself within this time frame, within now, within my spirit, who I am, and what I know to be true? I think it's a good starting point, just like anything. You should go to university for 1 or 2 years and then leave. Find some little community college, learn patience sitting in a seat, listening to someone drone on, and have an appreciation and gratitude for entertaining yourself around a group of like-minded people. That's really what it is. You don't need 100 years of it, or 20 years, or this and that, unless you're a doctor, lawyer, or these type of essential services. If you're not going to be doing that, we really do live in a world where you don't have to pressure yourself that way. So that's another thing we need to take away of where we're limiting people or saying that you can't be intelligent, you can't be smart, you can't do this, and you can't do that. We have books. We have books. And even if they do cost money, they have these Kindle, you have digital, there are like printouts, images. You can go on Amazon and probably like buy one of these books for like $3. You can get the list of any of these types of books from the careers that you want. If you want to be a philosopher, look into the best. This is what I did. Look into the best college you can find, and you're going to go probably in between Harvard and Yale. I think like personally on the inside, I would be a Yale person, but because Harvard just kind of is like name drop and dropping the mic, it's always been the information mass that I went to. But I understand Stanford has amazing laboratories. Like, we could go down the list of all of the great things that they all do. And thank God for these universities, because they do a lot of the scientific research that just no one's paying for. So if anything, this board 1 or 2 kids who go there and learn a couple of extra things, and they do add money into the college, and then they do get donations. We are learning extra things for our own health and goodness. And in that way, there's a balance in between titles. But as long as no one is getting hurt or injured, so this is the thing we're talking about. Those are innocent and peaceful things. The things that I want to come to today are the aggressive, violent things when you don't agree and someone wants to knock your lights out. When you say something improper to someone else that is not improper to you, whether it be talking about how you have a podcast. This could be seen as a form of aggression to someone who isn't slightly entertained by the thought that you might want to be special. And really, there is no problem with wanting to get your voice out there, wanting to feel special in any kind of way. And if you're doing it in a way that may have support and may resonate with a group of people, you're really creating an umbrella of comfort for a way of thought. And there's never anything wrong with that either. only when it's aggressive and causes violence. Even the negative, scary ones that none of us like to talk about or hear about or act like exist. But there are a lot of people out in this world that are experiencing these things. And even I myself, I'd like to be empathic and compassionate to anyone that has gone through any of these layers of reality that are just painful and abusive and aren't what you thought they should be. You did not deserve that. You deserve love. You deserve acceptance. And I want you to always say that to yourself and always know that within yourself. You deserve love and you deserve acceptance. Whatever your views are, that is what true acceptance is. And for someone in my position, I can definitely say I have a lot of experience. I've done the training, I've done the reading, and I think that should mean more. But I think it's a reverse of things now. Like how I remember, like a long time ago, like 1,000 years ago, if something was homemade, that means that it was probably going to be like $3 and it's from some like lady with a bunch of cats or something. Now, if you live in California, particularly, if it's homemade, it's like $2,000 and it's by a French couple who sewed it together on the Riviera, and there's all these amazing things about it. So there's just a new world of marketing, and I would say myself, it feels very cold and not authentic, and it doesn't really, like the times where I have to start doing ads or sponsoring you to, support the channel or to donate. I guess I have to get comfortable in a way of understanding that I have value, even at this level. Like, even at this level of so many things that I could think back to and say, wow, like I've done really amazing work. I've helped a lot of people, especially the type of specific work that I do, which is just an eye-opening safe space. And it's like, there aren't a lot of those. There's a lot of safe space and gentle talk for women, but I don't see that for men. And a man's point of view is definitely more aggressive, but it should still be seen and treated with the same type of love, acceptance, and care. Just not in such a mushy way, I guess. But I really do, I'm here for you guys, I see some stuff. It's a lot of man hate out there. And I just want to say, I love my dad, and he is just an amazing person, and I could never imagine, or one day when I have a son or something like that, I don't have any children or anything like that, and trying to work on the career, so that's not in the cards right now, but if that part of my life started happening, and I had a son, I definitely wouldn't want him to be in this world that's so aggressive and mad at him. So I want to do what I can to start gentling up the access of people in their titles. Like, you're being such a Karen, you think your coffee needs to have this extra cream, but you're talking to a human being. Maybe don't throw a coffee at someone's child. It's an amazing result, and it's a terrifying one, because this is the stages of Rome, where it's amazing to be American, and it's a blessing, and I don't think we really even noticed that. Or, I'll even say myself, like when I was growing up really young, no, I didn't really know how much of a gift it was to have a social security number and parents who, had like multiple jobs, and we had houses and paid for cars, and I didn't even know we were rich. That's how just easy you can just live. So when I say that, and then there's the downslope because there's divorce, so we weren't rich anymore, and then I got to experience that too, of where you go in a store and you have to look and see how much something was. That was like world shaking, ending almost, which if you have had a different type of lifestyle, you might hear that and go, oh, but if you've been there, I would say that there's no one to talk to. And that's kind of what I wanted to start talking about too. There's really no one who gives a shit if you're going through anything, if you have any kind of wealth. And my main point would be, just because you have wealth, you didn't stop being a human. And if anything, you're definitely under more pressure, because now you need to be all put together. You need to figure out everything. Oh, well, you've got money. We'll just go fix it with your money. You know, therapists are not magical wizards who just tap you on the head and you're okay. No, you might be messed up from being bullied in high school for the rest of your life. And you need to learn how to be okay with that. Kind of talking to myself. And I kind of am, but that's why I left and just went to college. I didn't even do the prom stuff. I'm not sad about it. I was happy I left. Don't really get where people drop off with their confidence. I want to get you back to figuring out that, you know, you're loved, you're accepted, and if you're not, it doesn't matter. You love and accept you, and you keep your safe space and your security group around you. That's your friends, that's your family that's not toxic to you, that's your partner that's loving and caring with you, whoever that is, however that setup is. That's your work environment. For a man, your work environment is very important. It is a part of who you are at some steps. So if you look at that and you say, I don't like my work environment, you don't like how you're treated, you're talked to, how it looks, maybe even how you have to dress. Like if you have to go to work every day and they dress you like a pirate and you have to stand outside, you may not be the one that needs to be doing that. Now for someone else, they might feel like Jack Sparrow and they're practicing for a new role. And it could be the most amazing job for them. So you need to step back and let that other person take that position. And then you look for what's going to do right for you. It's our own responsibility to really take care of ourselves. And we really have to start figuring out how to look out for us. Not in a selfish way, but in the most caring, loving, and giving way. The same way you'd put the oxygen on your face first, and then make sure that someone else's oxygen is. And then a human way of thinking, our life is so linear all the time. I have to start talking to you about the hermetic circle. It is circular. So your action of putting the mask on your face first, in a way, puts the mask on them as well. Without your mind showing you an image of you doing it, turning around, it's so slow. So remember, as soon as you take the time frame in between your mind to your words to out of your eyes and the signals reading back into your brain, it's already been multiple seconds and you think much faster than that. And like trillions and trillions. And someone who's listening, I'm definitely sure you can break it down a lot better because most, like I was saying, most of the people that are listening to this are like genius level. And I know it's like a very niche group, but that's why I wanted to start talking about this, because all of our media is for morons. Everything that exists in the world is made for stupid people. And in a way, I'm insulted and angry. And I don't like it. Like, one of my time travel movies was dumbed down from the book because they assumed whoever was going to see this very complex film wouldn't be able to understand it. Assumptions, and it's also not assumptions. They have test groups. But this is the thing: who do you pay to sit in a movie theater and judge a movie? It's probably not going to be like the top-notch people, right? It's not going to be your big scientist. It's going to be probably that dude that sleeps on the beach that you probably wouldn't ask for a movie suggestion. But this is who's running everything you see. And the more I've researched, the more I learn, I'm always taking in more knowledge. That's why I wanted to really do this podcast. I'm always taking in more knowledge, more input, and I want to push it out and push this knowledge out. And everyone can take this information for themselves. And that's the point of it. Take it for yourself. This is art. Judge it yourself. Make it mean something to you. Do something with it in your own world. I don't need to know. I don't need to be a part of it. I don't want to judge it. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to be hurt. This is just information at its purest. I have nothing behind it. And that's the most amazing thing. So when I look at my account and I've got a bunch of donations and things like that, it makes me feel like I really have like amazing people who are really like listening and are really resonating with like what this interaction is and how much deeper it can go. Because like I don't want to do that type of speaker that like yells at you and tells you you're worthless or you need to love yourself or this kind of thing. I'm definitely feeling that I'm an inspirational person, but I think if anything, the best thing I can do is to make you angry, upset you, maybe you're even offended a little bit, or you don't like what's happening, but keep engaging and listening. And challenging your mind to stop throwing you into one line of thinking, because you deserve your multiple circles of realms of yourself. You're so much more complex than you think you are, or you already know that you're this complex, but you don't know how to get at it. And that's what I'm here to teach. That's what I'm interested in. These are the things that really tickle my fancy. So we'll be talking more about the linear language versus the Hermetic circle, and how to further go into that and start changing your own brain. Because the brain is, in a way, not actual plastic, but in the way that water can be electricity. It is in this way where we can form and melt and bend and create new pathways, new neurons for you, and really get you to a place of, if you don't know what not being depressed feels like, or having anxiety. As an ex-anxiety haver, where I still might have a moment of anxiety, but I have so much control over my mind, it is that I don't have it anymore. I can teach these types of things and really just guide, because all of this information already exists within your aura, within your spirit. I just want to call it forth and allow you to have the comfort and the safety to be this you that you already want to be, which is your best self. And we're going to wrap it up now. But I just want to say thank you for listening. Thank you for always giving all your time, and really just settling in with me while we do this little mind theory. How did it get in your mind? Did you read something while you were listening to this, or you're looking at videos on your laptop, or are you at work listening to this, or driving, or something like that? Whatever your interaction is with your body while you're allowing your mind to take these different tasks on, which are listening to these words, taking them into your mind, forming these pictures, because the mind speaks with pictures, and letting this guide you and take you to a place of thought. Because there's a lot of times where we have thoughts, but we don't take ourselves to a place of thought, where it's outside of ourselves, but within ourselves at the same time. The ancient contradiction of life. I will continue teaching this to my many humans, as I love for you to know more about your existence. And we will speak more soon. And I thank you as always. And this has been Anomalycyra.